Hi there, YouTube. How you doing? I'm doing great, except for the fucking heat. On a whole nother note. In 2001 we had what I would call a pretty catastrophe-filled election. We got a Libertarian party and a Conservative party in government, and they are supported by a fascist party called the Danish People's Party. And one would think that when one has a libertarian ideology government that one would get more freedom. And it turns out that you can trust these right-wing libertarians about as far as you can throw an adult blue whale with a pinky, with this one. Because what we got here today in Denmark, and it is now becoming more and more obvious even to the masses here, is a country that is very close to being a sort of a police state, and with a bureaucracy that is killing a lot of initiatives. There is, from this government, a lot of control. There has been made so many laws controlling people, about checking up on them, about examining their life in minute detail. So many of those laws that you won't fucking believe it. It would make your head spin if I made videos about that, because I would have to talk for at least 3 hours to get through all the laws that are made about this. The strange thing is that these control things are only for the people. They are not made for companies and corporations. I can give you a good example on how big corporations and companies don't have to answer to anything. We have, for instance, in Denmark we have a ministry about food, and this ministry has the responsibility to make sure that all the food prepared by companies in Denmark, like restaurants and McDonald's and caterers, is healthy and good, and that it is prepared in kitchens that are clean. And since we got this government, they had made many cutbacks in this area. So many cutbacks that now around 90% of the companies making food, like caterers and restaurants and McDonald's, simply just have to every 3 months fill in a form where they write, "Our kitchen is clean, May 20th, 2010, and send it in." Before we had this government, we had this big, bad socialist government with social democracy as Democrats as the heads of government. A company making food would never know when an inspector would come by, and he could come by 5 times a year or 0 times a year or 80 times a year, depending on the condition of the places where they prepare the food for humans. This has of course resulted in a lot of people getting poisoned by shitty food made in dirty kitchens, costing the society millions in sick leave money and hospital bills. And I thought this libertarian government was all about saving money so the state wouldn't get too big. Funny thing is that the bureaucracy is bigger than ever. It's like when, for instance, you're sick. Let's say you have a bad back. You have a job where you lift a lot, and one day your back goes and you go to the doctor with a tremendous back pain, and he diagnoses you with a discus prolapse. They send you to the hospital, they operate you, and it doesn't really take, and this goes on for over 52 weeks. Then you're out of sick leave money and you go on social welfare. And being on social welfare in Denmark is no fucking paradise, I can tell you. Because the first thing you experience when you go down to the social office and ask for your social welfare, which you are entitled to according to the law and entitled to according to our fucking constitution, the first thing you experience is that they are suspicious of you, that they don't believe you're sick. They don't believe one fucking word you're saying about your illness. And you know what is really surprising is that they don't believe your doctor either. They don't believe your hospital either. So they start you all over again. They have their own doctors diagnosing you. They have their own doctors checking up on you to see if you're telling the truth. And this process can take fucking years before they acknowledge that you are actually too sick to work and can grant you a disabled pension. It can take up to 10 years now. And this is from a libertarian-led government. Where is the freedom in this? And the really funny thing about this whole thing with this libertarian government is that we now have the highest taxes in the world. But we have a government that said from the very first beginning, that was how they won the election in 2001, and won it again 4 years later, and again 2.5 years later, because they've been elected now 3 times. 3 times, and every time they say, we have stopped the taxes from growing, which is bullshit lie. It's an outright lie, because if they stopped the taxes growing, how come Denmark surpassed Sweden and are now paying the highest tax rate in the world? Not on income so much, because the income tax has gone down quite a lot. But companies pay bigger taxes, you know, and there are bigger taxes on cigarettes, on gasoline, on walking the fucking street, on just about anything you can think of except breathing and fucking. And this from a libertarian government, a party who rests their whole fucking policy on libertarian ideologies. Bullshit, I say. Under the last government, the government we had before this, which was led by the Social Democrats, they actually made the tax pressure less in Denmark. Without fucking the public service system, without fucking the police, without fucking the fire departments, without fucking the hospitals, without fucking anybody. They managed to put down the taxes, the whole tax pressure on everything, including income tax, with 5%. The current government, the libertarian and conservative government, has fucked all this up. At the same time that we are now paying the highest taxes in the fucking world, they are cutting back on food control, on hospitals, on schools, on all the education, on the police, on the fire departments, on every fucking bloody public service you can fucking think of. They have made cutbacks. And I tell you, these cutbacks are not small. And this government promised that they will make bureaucracy less. There has never been a time in Denmark's history where the bureaucracy since World War II has been as big as it is now. It has never been as difficult to be a Danish person than it is now, today, in 2010, after almost 10 years with a libertarian and conservative, right-wing fucking government. So when the libertarians tell you they're bullshit, it is bullshit, because look what happens when they get into power. And the underlying ideology of all this is that they want to make the public service system so bad that we have to use private, that we have to pay for it, just like in the United fucking States of America, yeah? So what they are trying to do is make our public health service so bad that people will start using private hospitals and pay out of their own pockets instead. They have even made private health insurances here, which we had never had before we got this fucking stupid asshole government. And the hospitals are working not as good as they used to under the socialist government, and they are more expensive than they were under the socialist government, and the taxes are higher than they were under the socialist government. So fuck libertarianism, fuck the libertarians, fuck the Danish government. I fucking hope we get re-elected the Social Democrats again, because nobody can fuck things up as good as ideology blind fucking libertarian fundy fucktard assholes. And on another note, I just want to say to all those right-wing libertarians out there, this is what happens when you guys get in charge. Fuck you.